Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for stopping by, keeping me company as usual. If you're here with me for the first time, welcome, welcome. Please remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and share, as well as feel free to leave your comments in the comments section. To my subscribers and regular viewers, welcome back. Always nice to have you guys. I'm going to be reading some of your comments today. Yes, I'm going to find the time and read some of your comments on our last video so that you can hear what others are saying if you have not read them yourselves. Okay? So, yes, you know the ropes. You're going to go ahead and give the video a thumbs up from now on and share. Then you rejoin me, and then we will get down to business. And of course, I want to thank you in advance for all that you do for our channel. Yes, man, for our channel. Yes, man, yes. All right, now that you've gone and done that, and I've kept you company while you did so, let's now get down to business. Now, so what am I bringing to you today? A very interesting, well, I suppose you may call it an ad, perhaps a little look into the future as to what it is we can expect in the general election campaign. We're going to be looking at this particular ad, which I found. I think it was sent to me, yes. And it's a Jamaica Labour Party ad. It is about what they call achievement. It looks a little limited to me in terms of what they're showing. I'm sure there are much more than this, but this is just a look at what it is that they intend to, in my view, how the campaign may go in the future. Then I am going to contrast that with something that happened, and you can bet, or you can just imagine how it's going to look to the voters, and the People's National Party is going to have to come with something. What that will be, only time will tell. But let us just take a little peek at this perhaps window into the election campaign that the Labour Party may conduct come next year when the election is called. So let's watch this video now.
Labor rights, let me tell you, the PNP machine is going around and trying to plant in your head that for the past 8 years, nothing good has happened in Jamaica. Although you have seen it before your own eyes, the whole list of progress that we have made in this country, they're asking you to believe them that all of what you have seen has not happened, and they need to come back to power. They are running their campaign on false and misinformation, and they are not only spreading it among their people. Labor rights, they are targeting you on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and the various social media entities that are out there. They have some of us wondering and questioning the performance of this Andrew HOLNESS-led government for the past 8 years. We're going to bust them bubble tonight. Never before in the history of this country have we had the type of wage reform that we have had. Soldiers and police are better under Labour. Teachers are better with Labour. Doctors and nurses are better with Labour. Farmers are better with Labour. Minimum wage workers are better with Labour. The youth of this country are better with Labour. If you want to send your child to university, you don't need a guarantor. You know how many young people qualify for university but could not go because they could not find a guarantor. Under this administration, young people in St. Elizabeth, you just need your qualification. No guarantor. And if you don't want to go to university, you can go learn a skill right up to the associate degree. Free of cost because of the Jamaica Labour Party. This administration has done well. We don't need to be nervous. When the PNP come at us, we can tell them about the health care that our great-grandma and grandmas and grandpa getting free of cost as a result of the Jamaica Labour Party. We don't need to be nervous. We have solid performance. When you're in the bar having a drink, when you're at the domino table, when you're in the taxi, when you're in the supermarket, when you're walking on the street, when you go to the fence talking to the neighbor, when you're on Facebook, when you're on Instagram, when you're out there on social media, remember you have performance to tell them that guess what? For the next election, we will remain the champion party in Jamaica Labour Party.
So you heard that. Now, he mentioned St. Elizabeth, so I'm taking it that this was the meeting that they had in St. Elizabeth recently, where, there were, I think it was a parish meeting for four constituencies. So this man is not even it's not even an ad, so to speak. It was turned into an ad. He was on the podium and he was talking to his labor rights. And what he was saying essentially was that they had no reason to worry about, losing the election because they've had all of these achievements. Well, I have news for him, because people don't vote on these matters except for the middle income people, middle class, and the upper middle class people. They are the only ones that vote on these things. You see, the poor man vote on one thing and one thing only, and that is what his money can buy. He's the smartest of all the voters, that poor man. He understands that what is key about his success is whether or not the money that he has in his hand can buy today what it bought yesteryear. If you want your third term, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Mas Andrew, if you want your third term, you have to work damn hard on the cost of living. You have to make that money that the hole in the hand now, the poor man, it must can buy things that he couldn't buy then. Yes, you increase the minimum wage, and that is absolutely brilliant. Why? Because it affects a whole heap of people. In fact, it affects everybody. Right? It's one of those policies that I regard as a big ticket item. Right? You haven't had any big ticket item at all. And that is usually what the PNP is good at. Right? But the minimum wage is key. And you work hard on that one and more than double it. In terms of US dollars per hour, it is almost double, moving from $1.51 US cents per hour to $2.42 US cents per hour. That's a very good achievement. But again, the whole thing with the poor man, I need you to understand. And I need you to understand, Mas Andrew, that when you're studying the PNP and saw how long they stayed in power from 1989 to 2007 and barely lost the election in 2007, barely, right, was the strategy that PJ Patterson used. I need you to pay close attention, and Andrew. What PJ did, despite the fact that the money was devaluing at a rapid rate, and despite the fact that the inflation was going through the roof, you heard it. In 1 year, when I spoke about the FinSAC, in 1 year, it was 100%. And in other years, it's like 47%. It was hyperinflation. And despite all of that, most laborites were perplexed as to how it is that the PJ Patterson government was able to stay in office for 3 consecutive terms. Right? I'm going to give the secret now. Free of cost. Yes, I'm feeling very generous tonight. Let me tell you what the secret was. When the business people went to the People's National Party, which was in power, and I suspect it was their intention to do so in the first place, because they had come in with what is known as a Fair Competition Act. It was one of the most important piece of legislation in years. Matter of fact, probably since independence, that Fair Competition Act. And what it did, it forced businesses to stop cartelize their products and gang together and increase the product on the people, right? And make super profit. They had to now compete. Not only that, he opened the some would call it floodgate, to bring competition into the market to ensure that our business people compete with them one another and the imports coming in usually from Trinidad. But that's not it. When he deregulated, I can tell you, I went into Amars looking for a jeans pants to buy, and the jeans pants in about 92 was selling for $1,300. What was the exchange rate in 92? May have been about $13, I think. It may have been about that time. But that was when the price was $13 something. A jeans pants was selling for $1,300. Even during the time with Eddie, the price was over $1,000 for some of these items when the currency was being held between $5 and $7. Right? For those of you who were there then, old enough to remember, you know what I'm talking about. Now, when the regulation came, that changed. Mr. Gazanazan and a whole heap of other merchants do them research and found that them could go to either India or China or one of them places, right? And get jeans pants and brought them into Jamaica, pay the duty on it, and sell them to poor people for $200. I want you to listen to me, people. I want you to listen to me good and proper, you know. We not talk no, we're not dealing with propaganda over here, so we are talk facts. And those of you who were there at the time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? Jeans pants selling for $200. This when the inflation going through the roof, you know. You remember Sammy's shoes? Who remember Sammy's shoes? Write it in the comment section. You remember how much Sammy's shoes were selling for? Those nice little shoes. Everybody had one. All me buy two. But they about 2 pairs. $100. By this time, the money had reached about $23 to one. So, the effect of the inflation and the high interest rate and the devaluation was not affecting the poor man. I wonder if you listen to what I'm saying. They were not affected. So when the election time rolled round and PJ run out there with him, fly the gate, let in the parrot, I don't know what the hell kind of song that was. I was shocked. People went and vote. People went and voted. A whole heap of people too. I'm going to show you the figures them so you can understand, right? When you send a video, go give us Andrew, him say he want a third term, right? I'm going to give him the secret now. Let me repeat myself. I don't like to repeat myself, but I'm going to repeat myself. When the inflation was going up on average 47% per annum between 1990 and 1995, you remember what Arnett Williams said. Omar Davis said that in 1 year it was 100%. In 1991 to 92, during the period after deregulation for 6 months, the inflation went sky high and money devalued by 108%, right? R. Danny Williams, show us the facts when you listen to that FinSac expose that I did. If I'm using the right word, I hope so. That was the situation in Jamaica. The money had moved from the artificial place that it was held at 7-1, I remember. I did see in the Bank of Jamaica, they said it was as 5 something, and it went to $23, and it was artificially held there. Transportation and food, the Planning Institute will tell you, is what poor people spend their money on, majority of the money. 50 to 60% of the money is spent on transportation and food. And the food price, will go up and down. And because of deregulation and competition and food coming from Trinidad at a lower price, people were able to buy and eat healthy. So the food price was also down. And of course, the government is always controlling the transport costs. This was a situation for the Jamaican people. You can always go and get a basket full of stuff if you know where to go to different wholesales and so on. You just walk enough. My friend Rhoda usually come with a basket of stuff and show how much you pay for this, how much you pay for that. You following me? Yes, man. So I am saying, and this was happening up to the 2000 era. So I'm saying to you now, that was the secret. When it went and bring phone, when I used to live in Boscobel in St. Mary, right, in the early 70s, between about maybe about 67 to 74, the Jamaica Telephone Company had them line running right around the country on the main road. Listen to me, good people. I want you to listen to me good, because I'm telling you the secret now, We used to live close to Playboy Beach Hotel. It's now must say Breezes or something like that, but Stewart Hotel now. And the line was running from Port Maria to Ocho Rios. The hotel, Playboy Beach Hotel, had lines. The business place, Sutherland's business place, they had a phone line. The other supermarket that Mrs. Sutherland had, they had a phone line. The post office would have had a phone line, and one or two other businesses. No private citizen had a phone line. That was Jamaica. PJ Patterson and the PNP understood that we are a very materialistic society. Andrew listening? Master Andrew listening? Yes, man. We are a very materialistic society. That is what he understood. And therefore, he also understood on what basis poor people voted. He needed to make them materially better off and make sure, damn sure, that the currency, the Jamaican dollar, can buy what it used to buy as it stood. The competition and the deregulation allowed people to be able to buy enough things that they were not able to buy before. So when you go and you hear people are talking at the market, bad to bad, and them start to tell you that this is before PJ, right? And the PMP of the 1990s. Bad to bad. When Michael was in power, things never so expensive. That was what beat the Siaga. It was that bad to bad. Despite the fact of what happened in the 70s, and the PNP was trounced in 1980 election, the cost of the living had risen to such an extent, right? No matter about no growth, people in the country, poor people in business, but no growth, that not help them, that not put food on them table. What put food on them table is that currency that them hold on them hand. And they were saying from one end of Jamaica to the next, bad to bad, when the PNP was in power, things never so hard, things never so bad. You listen to me, Andrew? Yes, ma'am, may I tell you something now. May I give you the secret, right? That was what happened to Eddie when lose. Him could show the books and how the books look good. He could show you and tell you how the country grow and it never grow under PNP, and he could show you that the country is stable, and yet he lost the election. That was the reason why. PJ knew. And so PJ came with a plan to make sure so him stay in power for as long as he wants to stay in power. And that was two things. One, to make sure him increase the material condition of the people. And the second thing, most important one, is to make sure that the money where them hold in them hand, them supposed to sit down and say, them can buy so much something with this currency. The poor people were not affected. Them walk from wholesale to wholesale and get them things at a deal. And that is the secret why PJ Patterson was in office for 14 long years, and the PNP barely lost the election. And when they won again in 2011, they won with more seats, 42 to 21. Are you hearing me, people? And this is something that the Labour Party never understood for 62 years. Never understood it. You always come telling people about you build this and you build that, and how much roads and how the books look good and how much NIR. Nobody care a blast about that. Certainly not the poor people. Only the people that are not affected by, irrespective of what's going on in the economy, they are not affected. Those rich people and the middle income, because they can just raise them income, right? Them are them own boss. They don't care about those things. But the poor man, Now I anticipate my Labour Party friends will be telling me about the problems in the economy and the 40,000 people who lost their businesses and so on. There are reasons why they lost their businesses, and there are reasons why some persons lost their homes. And yet, despite the fact that all of that happened in 97 onward, the PNP still won the election in 1997 and in 2002, mind you, with a less majority. Right? Now, let me see if I can show you and illustrate to you what we're talking about. Give me a second, let me go look it up for you. So after all that happened in the 1970s, this is the election of 1980. It took place the 30th of October. And as you can see, the JLP won 51 seats to the PNP 9 seats. It was a 38-seat turnaround. 86.9% of the people turned out to vote because it was very important, they felt. And as you can see, the Labour Party got 502,115, 58.88% of the vote, 502,000. And this 502,115 represents the highest a government ever received in the history of Jamaica, right? The PNP at the time got 350,000 votes, 41%. Because of the boycott of the 83 election, the next election took place the 9th of February 1989. And as you can see, the PNP won 45 of the seats and the Labour Party only 15 of the seats. Remember, they had all 60 seats at that time. 56.6% of the votes was what Manley got. Let's see what that turned out to be in numbers. So here you have it. You see now how unpopular the Seaga government was of the 80s. It was 502,000 that put him in and 473,000 that took him out. The Labour Party only got 362,000 votes. That's 140,000 votes that they lost during that period from 1980 to 1989. Good. This is despite the fact that Eddie was claiming successes and so on. But you see, I am telling you what happened was that the people were complaining about the currency, the money that them had could not buy what it used to buy under PNP. Bad to bad, that was the argument. And there were other issues as well that we needn't go into for the moment. We'll do that another time. Now, that voter turnout of 473,000 that the PNP got in 1989 was the second highest in the history of elections in Jamaica, right? 473,000. The next time we had a high number was 463,000. That was Portia in 2011. Okay, great. That's the third highest. So now we're at March 30, 1993. This after Michael Manley retired and resigned as Prime Minister. PJ was in all kind of mix-up, and in promise we say he shall return, and he shall return indeed. Ran the election to give himself his own mandate. 67% of the people came to vote, and he got 59.98%. The trouncing of the Labour Party was even worse. He got 52 seats, 7 more than in 1989, and Seaga was down to 8 seats. This is the lowest seat count in the history of independent Jamaica. Remember, the PNP had 9 in 1980. The JLP ended up with 8 in 93. I do believe the party was divided at that time. Good, let's see what it means now in numbers. So remember now, this is 1993, and you remember that in 1991, September, there was a deregulation of the economy as well as the freeing up of the foreign exchange. Okay, remember also the Fair Competition Act was in place, and the GCT was introduced at some point. I thought it was 91, but it could have been after. But this was a poll result in 93 with PJ coming to office with a cloud over his head. I want you to remember these things. He had a cloud. You hear the PNP talking about Andrew having a cloud over his head and them think that them can win on that basis. Well, this is a lesson to them too. Having a cloud over your head, whether real or imagined, is not a guarantee of electoral loss. PJ was able to win with 401,000, right? And Seaga ended with 263,000. And this represented a 100,000 further loss in votes for the Labour Party. Remember, in 89, the party had 363,000. Yes, so the party lost another 100,000 votes by 1993. This is what I'm showing you now, right? And this, when the money was devaluing, the inflation went up to 100%. The money moved from $5 something to $23. I am talking about facts here now. So despite of all of that, and the high interest rate was going through the roof, and prices were going up, and yet the people went and voted for PJ. That is the reason why, because the cost of living for the man who is poor had actually decreased a great deal. It was the businesses, the banks, businesses, and insurance companies that were being affected by all that was happening. I wonder if you understand me. People vote on the basis of how they are affected in their own personal life, not about the community necessarily. In other words, if they are better off but the road is bad, they will vote for the government because they will say to themselves, well, the road will me better off, well, maybe the road will get better. Especially if you come and promise them and do a throw a little something upon the ground. I wonder if you understand me. Yes. So this is the secret to PJ Patterson's success. Let me show you more evidence. You're looking now at the election in 1997, December 18. And as you can see, 65% of the people turned out to vote. PJ Patterson got 56% and Eddie Seaga got 38.9%. The PNP lost 2 seats, right? So Eddie moved from 8 to 10. But look at the numbers. The PNP actually got 28,000 more votes at 429,000, right? and lost 2 seats, and Eddie Siaga would have gotten 30,000 votes, additional votes, and won 2 seats. What was happening in 97? That was when there was this collapse. That was when FinSAC was born in January. And the depositors would have lost their shirt if the government had not bailed them out when they took over the banks and packaged the loans and was collecting the money that was owed. And they were also giving support to the financial institutions and taking shares and then selling those shares at a later date to recover some of the money, if not all, right? That was what was happening at the time. The financial system had started, the collapse had started, right? And look at what the PNP was able to get. PJ was able to get 28,000 more votes. I wonder if you're understanding me. How was he able to do it? Because the poor man can still walk and get him jeans pants for $200-300. Poor man can wear clothes. Not only that, I believe this was about the time when they started the motor vehicles coming in. The telephone company was also providing phones to people, right? Cable and Wireless was given a monopoly for a period of time, and they were told they need to do certain things or they're going to lose the monopoly. So they were giving out phones like hell. So those people who never had any phone, because with the phone line running from Port Maria all the way to Ocho and only business have it, you had poor people and other people, ordinary people, could get phone out of them yard. Of course, quite a lot of them ended up losing it, and many of them gave it up when Digicel came on the scene with this prepaid phone thing. You understand? They found that better, and they bought into that. Okay? Now, I think Cable and Wireless first them, but Cable and Wireless first them because Digicel had to negotiate with them a rate, so they knew what Digicel was coming with, and then first them. But it was a Digicel idea. So I am trying to show you, my peeps, how it is that the poor, I remember, it's 80% 83% or thereabouts of our people earning minimum wage and less. Are them the people we're talking about. Is them the votes that you need if you want to win election. Not the 200,000 people who are middle class and rich people. Them important too. But their main importance is to donate to the party. Right? So, Mas Andrew, I know you're listening intently because I know the labor rights send you this because they want to see you make a third term to like PJ. The secret is, if you want to win your third term, you must pay attention like a laser beam to those poor people. Right? Giving out houses don't mean a damn thing to them because them not get none. What they spend their money on. Ask the PIOJ and they will tell you the figure. About 60%, 50 to 60% of the money of the poor man is spent on food, beverages, and transportation. You have to somehow get the food prices down, right? If the food price is high locally, it can only be because the production is low. You have to open and allow importation until the local production can catch up. You have enough money in the NIR. You don't have to worry about that. 5.1 billion. Don't know what the hell you're doing with so much of the NIR. Right? But you have it. So the currency is not likely to run too far because it's a temporary measure that you're putting in place. It's them thing the PJ used to do. Because the most important thing is that his people must eat and eat properly. And he's not going to allow the farmers to make super profits while the people are starving. That don't make no sense. So that's the secret to getting your third term. Good luck with that. Now, Having said all of that, we're going now to that Englishman who up in our parliament with him illegal self. Yes, man, him. Now, when you see the Labour Party showing, or if the Labour Party choose to show an ad like that, showing their achievements, this is how it's going to be, and I can tell you. You'll be seeing Andrew showing all the houses that he build, and all the bridges that he build, and all the roads that he build, and all the kind of thing there, which is what he's supposed to do, in addition to other things. They will be showing an ad with Marky G stand up there, mumbling and fumbling and chatting a whole heap of things that not even the man beside him don't believe about the collapse of the staircase in a building that he described as rotten, and talking about a rotten building needs repair in his constituency that he claimed he has been making representation for how long, and government now pay him no mind. What kind of representation is that? If he thought that it was important, if he really thought it was important, wouldn't he be out there with the people and demonstrate? Would he be out there making noise on behalf of the people? No, he had to hear that there was a blockage of in the procurement process. Just recently. Well, when's it gone? So I never know anything that was going on. He must have gone and tell them, say, look, you need to do something about that. And him gone about his business, gone here and there and everywhere. This is what is you're going to be seeing. A scene like this. And then the PNP will be well and truly screwed. We can emphasize more that they need to get rid of this man and get rid of Bunting. Two capitalists. When them start to show that this man is a capitalist, show the socialists them that this man is a capitalist, what do you think will happen with the votes? I want to know the PNP people call themselves and consider themselves socialists. Anyway, we're going to finish that. I'm going to get to the comment section now. But before we get to reading the comments, let me let you listen to what the Englishman said to the media about the collapse of the stairway in that rotten building in his constituency at the Torrington Park scheme. Let's listen.
Yes, it's very unfortunate. This has been an issue for some time, several years, and I've been writing to the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. The Prime Minister is aware of it. And in fact, we had a community meeting a year ago with representatives from the ministry to say that the project to fix all this was going to start, and it never did start. And the most recent correspondence from them was, I think, last Wednesday, where they wrote, because there are two other schemes which have some problems of this nature as well. And they said for this one that the emergency procurement was blocked by the Procurement Commission, and so it has to go to limited tender. So it's a procurement issue within the government system that has prevented this from being addressed over the last year. But my representations to the government on this are, I think, go back 4 or so years. And we brought engineers here to look at it, and it's clear that something needs to be done because this is obviously rotten. And there's some other issues as well with the building. And now this thing has collapsed. Thank God the lady who was on the staircase at the time, she wasn't on the lower rung. She was on the upper rung. So she suffered some injury, but she's not badly hurt. Yeah, it's not serious hurt, thank God. We're not sure yet. I am not a technical engineering person to make that assessment. I don't think anybody can, obviously this stairwell cannot be used. Ideally, I think people could be rehoused while this is being fixed. That would be the ideal situation. Whether that's possible, I don't know. But at this point in time, we want to stop people coming onto this section, obviously, because this is very dangerous. There are two other staircases on the building. The other issues with the building had to do with roofing things and so on. But the main dangerous part of it was the fact that the concrete and steel which held the staircase up was compromised. And its cladding was falling off and all that kind of thing. So it was clearly a
problem. It just seems to take so long to be addressed, and I don't think that there was a sufficient appreciation of the urgency of it, despite being told, they were told that this was very urgent. But, you know, the wheels of government move too slowly sometimes. I think that where there's a situation where people's lives are endangered by a structure, it's a government structure, I don't think the procurement system should be able to take a decision to block the procurement based on some assessment from reading a document. They should come and have a look, because I don't believe they came to see it. As I said, a year ago, we had the community building to start the project, to sensitize the people that the project was going to start, and it never did start. And it's because I'm told that the actual procurement was blocked, that it wasn't allowed to proceed on an emergency basis. So, you know, to my mind, there needs to be a greater connection between the bureaucrats who are making these decisions and what's actually happening on the ground. If they're told this is a situation of urgency and an emergency situation, they shouldn't just be able to say, oh, they're not satisfied of it, and then that's the end of the matter. And I wasn't even told about that until Wednesday this week, that the thing had been delayed. I mean, I knew it was delayed, that it had been blocked because of a procurement issue. So now we're faced with this very distressing situation, and we're going to have to see what can be done. You know, just arrived.
So he just arrived, that's what he said. And he said he did not believe that they even came to see the building. And yet he's trying to give you the impression that he was on top of things. And he didn't know that the procurement process was blocked, but yet he was still on top of things. That's why I'm fumbling so and trying to remember what it is. Look here, something is desperately wrong with this man, yeah? That's all I have to say about that. As for him looking at this rotten building and think it should be repaired to put his constituents in, isn't that something? Not strange, because that is a way of a capitalist, right? They went and they gave the Bahamian government money to build 200 houses for their people, low-income housing for their people in Bahamas. We're talking about 20 million US dollars. But him couldn't find not even 50,000 to give his constituents, right? Because him sure them vote. Him don't have to do that. That's the first thing. And second thing is there's no money in it for him. That money that he gave the Bahamian government, I do believe it's a loan, right? So that's it for him. The people must stay in that rotten building unless the government is going to take the initiative and build the building. And I bet you when Andrew go down there, that Andrew will tell the people, I'm saying, no worry yourself, we're going to relocate you somewhere, we're going to lick down the building and build you a nice pretty building. You watch a joke. This man here is a comedian. So I'm going to read a couple of the top comments in the comment section of the last video I did. PJ said Mark Golding was destined to lead PNP. And we're going to begin with Kenrick McFarlane. Let me go on to Karina Tingling. Mark sounds remedial bad. How can anyone in their right intelligent mind really support this rambler? Then Patrick Rose said, tell me the truth. What does anyone expect of Mark Golden? He is simply a dunce when it comes to leading the country, so I am not surprised at his answer. He is just a numbskull. Kenrick now, I like Kenrick particularly, which gave me the idea to read it for you. Marky British argument about agriculture sound like some discussion that anybody with a little knowledge would have in a rum bar on a Friday evening while shooting the breeze. He is not au fait with what happens in the tourism sector. He knows nothing about retention from cruise tourism and is just saying what everybody and his wife knows about the hotel side of the tourism sector. Marky British just does not have the command of the knowledge required to be considered to lead a government. He definitely does not have prime ministerial material. Now, I agree with him. Then you have St. John now. He said if they can't develop their constituencies, how are they going to develop Jamaica? I agree, and that is my sentiment exactly. Right? If you come and you say you want to do this, that, and the other for Jamaica, why is it that we're not seeing it in your constituency? Right? You must be able to use if you're ingenious to help Jamaica, you must be ingenious enough to help your constituents and figure out ways and means to get the job done for them. So I agree. If they don't have a plan for their constituencies, then they don't have a plan for Jamaica. Simple logic. They are simply power hungry. Anybody who fits into that category, and in this case, Bunting and Golding and his Rise crew. I hope these things open the blind PNP supporters who fail to see these arrogant, self-centered, and useless PNP representatives, especially the one them who are risers. May I agree with you 100%. So I'm going to leave it here for today. I hope you enjoyed the program and you remember to give the video a thumbs up. Yes, thank you so much for that. So I want to thank you for being with me today, for liking, sharing, subscribing, and leaving your comments. Until next time, you take good care of yourselves and walk good.